How to categorize keywords using ChatGPT with Christopher Hofman Lawson. The In Search SEO Podcast is brought to you by Similarweb, helping you build better SEO strategies with digital intelligence, insights, and data. Hey, it's David. Are you using AI to assist with your keyword categorization? That's what we're talking about today with a man who's speaking at Brighton SEO this year and has talked at SEO Day in Denmark 6 times in a row. He's the partner and head of SEO at Inbound CPH. A warm welcome to the In Search SEO Podcast, Christopher Hofman Lawson.
Thank you. Thank you, David.
Hey, Christopher, thanks for coming on. Well, you can find Christopher over at inboundcph.dk. So, Christopher, should every SEO be using AI to categorize keywords?
Well, I think any SEO or digital marketer per se should use AI. And of course, I'm preaching the use of AI for categorizing keywords, right? So that's my thing. It depends where you are with your SEO. I definitely think that AI has become very handy as a tool, as a go-to tool for any SEO task today. So definitely something that we should embrace for sure.
So today you're sharing how to go about categorizing keywords using ChatGPT. So to start off with, why is categorizing or clustering, and what is the difference between those two things? Why is categorizing or clustering keywords important?
I think categorizing and clustering is the same thing for me. As a non-English speaker, it could be it's different for you, David, but
well, it's almost thinking about tags or categories in blogs, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, for me, it's clustering keywords, and clustering is, it's a way to simply understand keywords, right? So clustering is grouping similar keywords with the same use search intent into the same groups. When you group a lot of data together to make sense of the data, then you can make it usable, right? So, of course, in the case of SEO, when we group keywords, if we're building a website, we will understand how to better structure the website. That could also go if we actually have a website and we want to build out a blog for our content strategy. You can say that this is the way that we structure the blog. Reverse engineer a great content strategy actually goes all the way back to clustering your keywords.
So to bring in another word, I remember when I worked for a big agency, we talked about baskets of keywords that we were targeting for individual pages. So when you talk about a cluster of keywords, is that with a view to trying to rank a single page for all those keywords, or is that simply trying to make sense of all the potential targeting opportunities you've got with a view to then creating a content strategy from that, not necessarily on the same page?
Yeah, I think the first part is grouping the keywords, and then of course the next part is understanding what should then be your content plan, right? And of course, sometimes it's one big page to rule them all. Other times you say, okay, these are actually keywords where I have to build a category page. I have to build a subcategory page. I have to build blog posts around this. It very much, of course, depends on the niche you're in, the topic you're in, and of course, the way that Google decides to display results. That's a big part of this as well.
So why is AI useful for this, and why is it better than a human doing it?
I think in general, you have to think of AI as an assisting tool, right? So, I've been in the SEO business I've been working on doing SEO for 20 years now. The last 8 years on the agency side, and I've done everything you can say manually from the beginning. And then suddenly we have AI to assist us in what we're doing, and you can say that AI has many purposes, but definitely one of them is to become more effective and convert some of these manual tasks into automated tasks. And
can you do this in different languages as well, or do you have to natively speak the language that you're doing this for?
Yeah, that's the beauty of AI, I would say, because it doesn't care about languages, right? As for instance, for ChatGPT, the LLM there, it doesn't care if it's Japanese or English or Danish for that matter. it really understands language. And I mean, that's such a nice thing for somebody like me, and I think for many SEOs, because language has always been a barrier in the way that we work. In Brighton, I'm going to show a case where I'm actually working with a global brand, and they say, Christopher, this keyword audit, this keyword analysis you did in English, could you do it for the Japanese market? It's like with AI tools, you can really, I don't think there's a language barrier anymore.
I guess the challenge with that is you can't review the quality of the results. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a thing that is, again, AI and humans. How should they work together? Of course, if you're doing something in a language that you as an SEO consultant doesn't understand, you need to have somebody in there, somebody native to check it. And I think it's the same thing when you're building content and you're translating blog posts. You also have an editor in chief actually to revise what are we publishing, right? So just speaking about tone of voice, our brand in the content, that requires a human, I would still say. I mean, of course, you can get very far with custom GPTs to define what is your brand voice, but you still need a human editor before you press publish on anything, I would say.
And another challenge, I guess, with doing keyword research for a market that you don't necessarily know about is other keyword phrases might be more popular in that particular country. You can't necessarily just translate directly from the keyword research that you've done in your language.
Yeah, I mean, one of the examples I'm actually showing, and that's also, I mean, you have a good point here, David, because if it was just me sitting here and trying to understand the different language nuances between what you can say Australian English and American English, for instance, I mean, that would be an impossible mission. And that's where, for instance, a tool like ChatGPT is excellent at this. It really understands the nuances between languages, even when it's English. Just to give you an example, I work for a company called Medler Toledo. They are, they're global leader in all kind of weighing instruments. And when you want to measure a truck, in the US, it's called a truck scale, and in Australia, it's called a weighbridge, right? Completely different. And that's what ChatGPT just gets instantly, something like this. And it's quite amazing to see the way it understands languages in languages.
And are there certain prompts that you have to deliver it beforehand to ensure that it's understanding the context of seeing things from a different country's perspective, a different language perspective, or is that understanding built in now to begin with?
Prompting is, if you want to work with AI tools, if you want them to assist you, you really need to understand prompting as well. Again, you will get it, as you know, with any prompts, you will still get a decent result by some simple prompting. The more advanced the prompting is, the better the results. So I think it's really a matter of fine-tuning, seeing what is the output that I'm getting. Does this live up to the quality I expect, or do I need to advance my prompting? But definitely, prompting is definitely an important part of the tool set for a SEO consultant, definitely.
I'd like to get a feel for your keyword research process using AI and perhaps how it's changed from more traditional methods. So can you perhaps walk us through maybe a few steps that you take to try and be more efficient using AI for keyword research?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think AI is actually involved in all the different parts of doing a keyword analysis. Starting out with the analysis of understanding the client's market, understanding them as a brand, understanding what kind of businesses they are in. And also, of course, I mean, what I'm talking about is categorizing keywords, which is actually when we extract a lot of keyword data, it can be thousands of keywords in some industries. Categorization or clustering is really a big part of understanding keyword data. And that's why we're sitting here today, because I think that of course, we can use Python, or we can use APIs from different AI tools. But I also found actually I developed a method to actually use directly tools like ChatGPT for this categorization. I think that's a big part of the keyword analysis, where AI tools are very handy, both in understanding the business, the industry, what are the USPs of the client, but also clustering these different keywords that we get.
And how large a data set can ChatGPT handle, and how does it deliver the results? So can it deliver everything in a spreadsheet, for instance?
Yes, I mean you can actually ask ChatGPT or another tool to create a table for these keywords. When I was asked by Brighton to talk, I mean you have to, as you know, you have to develop a title right there on the spot. So I worked with ChatGPT last year when they asked me, and right now I actually moved over to Claude 3 instead, because it's a much faster tool. You know, if you have worked with ChatGPT for the last months, you will know that they're saving on the resources, right? They're more and more. They're not giving you so much anymore. They're actually telling you what to do from here, right? So when you talk about a tool like Claude, you can actually get a very nice table of keywords and the categories of these keywords, and you can just copy paste into Excel or whatever you work with.
Right. Oh, yeah. I was going to ask you about alternatives to ChatGPT as well. So Claude is certainly better in terms of speed. What about in terms of accuracy and the quality of the results that it produces? How does it compare with ChatGPT?
I mean, right now, Claude is superior to ChatGPT. We all started out with ChatGPT on 1st December 2022, and of course, you get when you use a tool, you get stuck in that tool. But I would say that it's really a time of looking at other tools than ChatGPT. If you're serious about working with AI tools, there's so many tools which are actually passing ChatGPT when it comes to some of these different tasks. What I find with Claude 3 is actually that it's super quick. It could be that it's the same as with ChatGPT. At one point, they will start to limit what you can do with it, and then maybe I have to find another tool. I'm quite agnostic on that part, but I see this tool as a very quick tool right now if you're stuck with ChatGPT.
So obviously, these tools can produce a volume of target opportunities in quite a short period of time. How do you then go about defining which is the right opportunity to focus on to begin with?
Oh, I think that's probably understanding the business, right? Before anything else.
So you can't use AI to do that?
Well, I mean, it's let me explain the process I'm using, because I think many here have probably already tried to categorize keywords with ChatGPT or another tool. The whole idea of actually sitting here talking with you, David, is actually that I think that we have to change the process of how to categorize keywords, because probably, let's just say you have 100 keywords or 1,000 keywords, and you say, here's my list of keywords, ChatGPT or Claude, please categorize them, right? So you will get an output, but you will get an output as with many other things. When you provide very little context to it, it will just run wild, right? It will just run in different directions. You will get categories you never heard of, and it will ChatGPT or it's not smart, right? So it will just, the thing it comes out with, it will just base its next output on that. So it will actually just run wild. My way of working with these tools is actually, instead of doing keyword categorization, I will do what I call, it's not very beautiful, but I will call it category keywordization, right? So actually adding context, focusing on the categories that you want to fill in your keywords in. What you can do is give context about your business to the AI tool, and then tell it, these are my different categories, and really educate it about the categories. Ask the tool to come up with, have it describe every category for you, so I know that it understands the category. Have it come up with examples of keywords that it would put into the category. Revise that process, and actually when I feel that it has a good understanding of the categories, only then I will provide it with a list of keywords.
That's great. Okay, so you're testing it, you're educating it and testing it and getting comfortable that it understands your business. And do you do that by prompts, or can you give it access to existing data to analyze that and get that context more quickly?
Yeah, I mean, actually, it turns out to be a conversation. You know, I will start with the prompting, of course, and these are the categories. This is the business that we're in, etc. But actually, it's more like a conversation that, oh, this category, this keyword is wrong. You should put in more like this, or maybe we should develop another category. So it's a little bit back and forth. But I do this process in ChatGPT because it works fine for me there. And then I actually ask ChatGPT to create, based on all the conversations that we had, create a prompt which I can use in Claude 3 afterwards. It will actually build out the correct prompt for me. So I can give it to Claude 3, which is a tool which doesn't know anything about my business or what I want to do. But actually I have ChatGPT telling it what to do.
Well, let's finish off with
the Pareto pickle.
So Pareto says you can get 80% of your results from 20% of your efforts. What's one SEO activity you would recommend that provides incredible results for modest levels of effort?
Yeah. And of course, I wanted to say keyword clustering, of course, but you already had a former guest on the show with that one. What I would say is actually when you start a SEO project, the way that you can really work on a lot and not getting any effort. And I think the most important thing to be effective is actually understanding what are the keywords or the search queries which bring in business. So always what I'm doing, if I have a client who's not worked so much on SEO but have, for instance, used Google Ads for a long time, I actually understand what have they actually converted for them, what keywords have converted for them, and that's also where my focus is, if that's the strategy of the business.
I've been your host, David Bain. You can find Christopher Hofman Lawson over at inboundcph.dk. Christopher, thanks so much for being on the In Search SEO podcast.
Thank you, David. I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you.
And thank you for listening. Check out all the previous episodes and sign up for a free trial of the Similarweb platform over at similarweb.com.